Yes, that really did happen last night. Yes, the Detroit Pistons got the number one overall pick. They got that beautiful envelope, the number one written on it with the Detroit Pistons logo. Mark Tatum, we love you now. We absolutely love you. NBA, we love everyone. We love everything and everyone because the Pistons, they did get the number one pick. That is not a lie. You are not on the Truman Show. Not everyone is pranking you. This is not some huge elaborate prank that you're a part of or that you're in on. No. The Pistons, they moved up in the lottery for the first time ever. The first time ever. And, well, for the first time in 50 years, they will be drafting number one. Well, there are still a few things to play out. Who knows if Oklahoma City offer like 25,000 picks for that pick, and then Troy Weaver, you know the kind of guy he is. We have faith in regardless of what direction he takes. I know everyone wants Cade, and this is what this video is about, so I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but we have faith. Whatever Troy Weaver does, I have faith that it's the right decision because there is absolutely no reason to doubt him after the debut season he had as a general manager. But we're not talking about hypotheticals, even though Cade Cunningham is still currently a hypothetical. But we're talking about something that is 95, 99% likely to happen, and that is that Cade Cunningham will be a Detroit Piston in a couple of months' time. Well, in a month's time, Cade Cunningham will be a Detroit Piston. And, well, let's talk about Cade Cunningham, because I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it because I'm not trying to get on here and lie. I'm not a college expert. I don't watch a ton of Cade Cunningham. I haven't seen a ton of college basketball. So I'm not coming on here and saying, oh, I know everything about Cade Cunningham's game. No, I do not. So I looked at some highlights. I did see some games in the year. I did see some games because I knew he was going to be the number one overall pick. And, well, you could dream. You could dream, and now that dream is a reality. So I saw some games, and I've seen some highlights. And basically, when you talk about everything I've seen and heard, this is a 3-level scorer. This is someone who can get his own in the mid-range. He can take advantage of mismatches inside, which I absolutely love from guards and wings. It's not done enough where someone who's 6'8" takes advantage of their mismatches, posts them up, and gets to the rim. Hits them with a little post fade, hits them with a little layup, just gets to the rim. He's just got a high IQ for the game in every facet, but as a scorer, he's a 3-level guy. He can shoot 40% from 3 on volume. He's a good free throw shooter and a mid-range shooter, as I said as well, so there's everything to believe that that is going to continue to be legit at the NBA level. He's at the very least going to be an average 3-point shooter and on consistent attempts. He can shoot. There's absolutely no doubts about that. He can score. There is no doubts about any of those things. And then let's talk about more things that he can do. Why not? 6'8". That means there's got to be some room for him as a defender. And he's already shown he can be a good defender, potentially a really good one going forward. He showed that at college level. He showed high IQ off the ball as a defender, which is incredibly important. Everyone wants to talk about the on-ball defense, which is obviously the more highlightable thing and the easier thing to look at. But the off-the-ball defense is huge when you're talking about a defense and trying to build one up and trying to get an elite defense. Off the ball is huge, particularly from a rookie, and he's already shown signs of being way ahead of his time as an off-the-ball defender. You pair that in with 6'8" and good enough athleticism to stay in front of guys, he's going to be a good defender from the get-go. He could potentially be a really good one going forward. And then as a playmaker, he can playmake. He can create shots for other players. He can create shots for himself. He can make a ton of different passes. He's a flexible guy that you can put in a number of different roles, that you can put in a number of different systems, and he's going to produce on both ends of the floor. That is Cade Cunningham. That is someone you want. Not to mention, he did this on an Oklahoma State team that wasn't good. That wasn't good. They couldn't shoot the ball very well. They didn't have great spacing. And I think that's incredibly important to note because I think you look through the past and you look at a number of the number one overall picks and just top 3 or whatever overall picks. They're often on good teams in good situations. Cade Cunningham wasn't in one of those great situations. He was asked to do a lot. He was asked to do a lot with not too much. And he was able to stay level-headed on both ends of the floor. He was able to close out games. He was able to do a number of things facing different defensive assignments. Pretty much every defensive assignment you would want to see a college player face. And he stayed level-headed and composed and efficient all throughout. That is incredibly important because coming into the NBA, he's going to be asked to do a lot from the get-go. He's going to be asked to help close games, and that's where I want to talk about how I think he fits the Pistons so well. I mean, this is a guy who, as I said, he's a 3-level scorer. He can defend, he can shoot, he can play make. He fits every team in NBA history, theoretically. Well, I mean, there's no doubts about that. But in particular, his skill set and what the Pistons need right now, oh, it's perfect. Oh, it's absolutely perfect. Not to exaggerate. Now, before I even get any further, if you could drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I said drop a like on the video, and Cade will go to the team of your choice. Now, there's 15 other teams unhappy with me, but I don't care because he went to the Pistons, and that happened. So, drop a like on the video, and Cade Cunningham will win Rookie of the Year, whatever. And subscribing to the channel as well. Make content like this every single day, and I'll be continuing to make a lot of Pistons content. Now, as someone who has watched every single Pistons game of last year, of the years prior, it doesn't matter, we don't need to get into that. I've seen everything. Like everything. Mason Plumlee dribble moves. I've seen Mason Plumlee turn the ball over, trying to do too much. I've seen things that would make a man scared. Things that you don't want to see. Things that I wish I could forget. A lot of things that I wish I could forget over the last few years. And then some good things. We're going to talk about the good things because this is just a good day. This is a good week. This is a good year because of Cade Cunningham. When we talk about Cade as a closer, when we talk about this Pistons team, I, for one, being completely objective, I know I can be biased sometimes, that's the reality, but being completely objective, this is a competitive team. People are going to look at this team and think, oh, you know, classic team that gets the number 1 overall pick, classic terrible team that won 20 games, they're going to take a few years before they're competitive, and then once they're competitive, they'll be cool. Yeah. They're not great. Let me not get it twisted. I'm not coming out on here and saying they're going to be a 50-win team. But I think this idea that this team is a bad team, or right now, even without Cade Cunningham, is false. Through the first 50 games of the season, before they started resting Jeremy Grant, Josh Jackson, Mason Plumlee, all of those guys, every single starter, when they were trying to win games, kind of, they're the 23rd best net rating in the league. What does that mean? Advanced analytics, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Okay, that's fine. But all I'm trying to say is they were better than a lot of teams. When you look at net rating, basically offensive rating, defensive rating, it's just a good kind of analysis of where teams are at. And I think this just tells me that they were competitive. And then you look at their clutch situation record, which I've talked about on this channel before. It's basically just an easy way of looking at games in which teams were close and what their record was. Well, you want the Pistons record? Worst in the NBA. Winning percentage, clearly the worst in the NBA at 7-25. And this is incredibly important to note because they were in 32 close games. Pretty much half of the games they played in were close going down the stretch. You compare that to a team like, say, the Charlotte Hornets, a team that everyone thinks, oh, they've got a fantastic future. I think they do. They've got a good future. People think they're competitive. They're a near playoff team, all of those things. In close games, they were 18-13. All of a sudden, you flip those records. But we're not doing that. 18-13 is probably a bit extreme for a team under 500. But let's just say the Pistons were to go 500. 500, that's all we ask. That's 16-16. 500, that gets them to 29 wins. And all of a sudden, they're a few games out of the play-in, and this is a team that goes from, oh, terrible to competitive. And, well, you can't all of a sudden just flip the switch and, yeah, you're going to win close games. No, it's not that simple. A lot of things go into it. But I think at the core of this, it just speaks to what I know and what we know as Pistons fans. This is a competitive team. It might not look at it in the win-loss column. It might not look at it getting the number 1 overall pick, but this is a competitive team, and I think Cade brings a lot of what they need in these close game situations. I mean, what else could you want? Someone who can get to the line in late game situations, someone that can take advantage of mismatches, level-headed on both ends of the floor. He'll hit his free throws, he'll hit his shots. He's been in the moment before, he's done it before, and it just takes less responsibility off the likes of Jeremy Grant, off other guys. It's not about Cade coming in and being the absolute chosen one, leading us to every single victory ever. No, it's about the knock-on effect. All of a sudden, Jeremy Grant's not asked to create every single offensive possession going down the stretch, which is something that he'd never done in his career before, and then all of a sudden, straight away, let's do everything through you, Jeremy Grant. No, all of a sudden, there's a mixture. Killian Hayes will have some possessions. Cade, Saddiq Bey, all of these guys will have some possessions, and like through committee, it's going to be a lot better down the stretch. It's going to be a lot less of a mess. That's where it's going to be key. And so let's just forget about the clutch game situations. Forget about the record for a second. Let's just look at this roster and why I think Cade in particular fits and why I'm so excited about this Pistons team. You look at Killian and Cade. That's going to be the backcourt. I don't know, people are going to say Cade at point guard, Killian at point guard. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, they're both going to handle the ball. They're both going to play back. They're both going to create shots. They're both going to play off ball. You get the point. They're both going to play together to some extent. So Killian, people look at his stats and think, oh yeah, he wasn't good. He did come off a hip injury. He started the season really slow. He came back and he got better every single game. That's all you want from your rookie point guard. Over the last 15 games of the season, coming off an injury, 8-7, 37.5% from the field, 30% from three, and shot 80% from the line. And he showed genuine elite passing skills. That is not hyperbole. He showed genuine passing ability far beyond anyone on the team. Maybe Cade can help try to match that, but anyone on the team and any rookie in the league, probably aside from LaMelo Ball, Halliburton at times. Like, he showed genuine, great high IQ level passing. Also, defensively, he was locked in. He was a really good defender from day one, particularly after he came back. So he showed all of those things. The only thing he didn't really have was a consistent jump shot, a consistent way to create his shot. He looks like he's got stronger from what I've seen. I think that's what he needs to do, because I don't think he's ever going to be that absolute burst athlete. So for him at 6'5", it's about him being stronger, getting to the free throw line, and using his strength to get inside. I don't think it's about him being the quickest twitch guy. It's about like the James Harden mold. Obviously, we're not expecting that. That would be fantastic. It's about being like a James Harden kind of level athlete, just that big, strong guy that has enough burst, but it's about the hesitation. It's about those kind of moves. And also, when you mix in a passing ability, you're always going to be better at creating your shot, because teams are always going to be skeptical of what you're going to do with the ball in your hands. So they're always going to be trying to feign and try to block the lob guy. There's going to be a lot of things you can do in terms of hesitations and faking out the defense if you can pass. Killian can do that greatly. I think next year, he's going to prove that he's at the very least right now. I think he's going to prove he's going to be a solid NBA level player next year with the potential to be more. But going into next year, he's going to be good. I think he's going to be solid from the get-go, and Cade is going to help him. Cade is going to create shots for him. He's going to take some of the pressure off him. It's just going to be a great partnership. Killian's going to get a full off-season. He didn't even have a proper off-season, a proper pre-season with the team. That's what you have to consider as well with all of these rookies. I know some of the rookies did really well. It doesn't matter. Some of them are different, and Killian came from overseas, didn't have a full off-season. Just trust me when I say he's going to be good. And then Cade Cunningham, I talked about it briefly, but he's someone, he can play different positions. He can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. He can create his shot. Defensively, he's there as well. This is someone that's going to help close games. He's going to help from the start. He's seen as a big floor raiser, a big-time floor raiser. I think, there's no reason he doesn't fit absolutely perfect. The kind of defensive versatility as well you have now with Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, even Isiah Stewart. People don't talk about it enough. Pistons fans do, but people don't talk about the fact that he switched onto the perimeter. I saw him switch onto James Harden and block his shot. I saw him switch onto Chris Paul and force a turnover. I saw him do a lot of those things on a pretty consistent basis. He's capable of switching, and now all of a sudden you've got guys that are switchable at those positions defensively. That's all you ask. We've seen it in the playoff setting. We've seen that is what you want defensively, and all of a sudden you're getting the makings of a very switchable defense with now some creation coming from numerous aspects and some playmaking, all of those things. Shooting as well. Shooting at all 5 positions, dare I say. Let's get into Jeremy Grant as well. Let's talk about Grant, because he's someone that improved drastically. Everyone wants a Jeremy Grant. Everyone wants someone that can now create his own shot. He improved his playmaking towards the end of the year, his decision-making. He's defensively still been engaged. That was as a first option. Defensively, he was still locked in, taking on the opponent's best player, often the best wing guy a lot of the time. He's always going to be a good defender. He can shoot the 3 ball. He can spot up. He shoots well from the free throw line. He's good at getting to the rim. I know his efficiency tanked towards the end of the season. It has people believing maybe this was just kind of false hope that he's not going to be a scorer, which I don't think he's going to be a 25-point per game scorer. I think he's going to be a consistent 20-point per game scorer that's going to be a lot more efficient next year when he cuts out some of those mid-range shots that he took a lot of. I'm not all against the mid-range shot. I just think he was taking a lot of kind of tough mid-range shots that he didn't really need to take. Cut some of those out, continue to attack the rim, continue to shoot the 3 ball, continue to get to the free throw line, and continue to improve that playmaking alongside defense. Jeremy Grant is the perfect piece for any team looking to be competitive. And he's still improving. You then have Saddiq and Isiah Stewart, the All-NBA rookie guys. They both proved in their first year. Saddiq in the last 15 games of the season averaged nearly 16 points a game on 40% from the field and nearly 40% from 3 on over 8 3-point attempts a game. He already proved in year 1 that he's at the very least a great, reliable 3-point shooter, a good defender, and I think as time goes on, he's going to improve his ball handling ability and his ability to finish at the rim. At the very least, you're getting someone that's probably going to average 15 points a game next year on good 3-point efficiency, and I think his overall efficiency is going to improve. He's as solid as they come for a rookie, for a second-year player. He's got upside as well, which we shouldn't sleep on. But at the very least, similar to what Grant is right now, this is someone who projects to, at the very least, be a high-level role player, which you need. You need those. And you surround those guys with the generational talent that Cade Cunningham could be. Speaking of high-level role players, Isiah Stewart's going to fit that bill as well. On the last 15 games of the season, I keep bringing this up because this is when these guys got more opportunity. 11 and 8, 2.2 blocks a game. 2.2 blocks a game. He was one of the leading shot blockers in the NBA over the last 15 games of the season. He showed switchability. He showed versatility. He showed a mid-range game. He showed a three-point game. His three-point shot did tail off at the end of the season, but he showed enough touch in every aspect of the floor in terms of mid-range, free throw line, and three-point shot that I think he's going to be a stretch guy. Whether he's at 40% or 30%, I don't know. I've heard people say he's still like a bench guy. He still might be like an okay player at best. You didn't watch enough Pistons games. Like, Pistons fans know what this guy is. He's got the motor to, at the very least, be a role player. The motor alone gets him that role player nod. And then the skill level is so underrated. His skill level, his versatility, it's there. It's there. Just talking about the team as well, Frank Jackson, coming off the bench, was one of the elite bench players in the league the second half of the season. Numbers were efficient, volume, scoring, defensively. He does it all. Mason Plumlee. People can laugh about his contract. Good vet. If he's coming off the bench, I hope he's not starting. I would love Isiah Stewart to start. But if he is starting, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But if he's coming off the bench, he's a good bench. Saben Lee, Sekou improved as well towards the end of the season. And then one of Josh Jackson, Diallo, and Troy Weaver. Like, Troy Weaver is going to make the right decisions, as he proved all throughout his first year. Yes, this video is dragging on. Hope you guys don't mind. I mean, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. That's all I'll say. This is real life. This genuinely happened. We genuinely got the number 1 overall pick. I still can't really believe it. Will we ever believe it? I don't know when it'll set in. I don't think it'll set in. Like, it's set in that we got the number 1 overall pick, but it hasn't actually set in that Cade Cunningham could be in a Pistons jersey. I was so excited. I'd wake up excited seeing Killian Hayes play games, which I'd still be excited to do, but the thought of Cade Cunningham playing games, wow. Wow, that's exciting. So that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. Playoffs would be cool, but they've got Cade Cunningham. They've got Cade Cunningham, and it's one of the brightest futures in the league. Wow. Yes.